the Season 17 finale of One Hub Racing at Japan. I am Matt, usually seen with Luke, but today I have a new commentary partner in the form of Storm. Good evening.
Hello there.
Yeah, fellow Prospecteer driver, and I don't think we've ever had two in this commentary box before. Do you like it? It's got windows and aircon and everything.
Well, it's definitely an upgrade.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, it's title decider day, and two-horse race. You have Lakitu and you have... Oh, hang on. Yeah, Netski. That was it. I knew it was Netski. The German versus the Swede. The Mercedes versus AlphaTauri. Who's your money on?
It's a hard one to call, really. For me, I'd go potentially on the championship leader. I think he's proven it this season that, you know, he can get the results done, but it's Japan. We can get a wet race or a wet quali, so it's all to play for, really.
Yes, indeed. We certainly know about the wet weather around this track, as we experienced it earlier in Prospect here. But it is a two-horse race, as we say. It is Lakitu's championship to lose, who is in the hot of the hot and cold drivers this week. 4 out of 4 wins in races, 6 altogether, 14-point gap going into today. It's definitely his to lose. His challenger is Netski, but he's not cold per se, but he hasn't been able to beat Lakitu since Brazil. That was around 5. Will the pattern continue? And even if Netski does beat Lakitu, will it be enough to crown a surprise champion given the circumstances? So that is how it plays out today. But there will be, of course, plenty of other things going on around this fabulous track that's held 31 real Formula 1 Grand Prix and 13 in One Hub Racing. C3, C2, C1 tyres, soft, medium and hards, although probably at some point intermediates or wets. So, yeah, is there anything you're particularly looking out for in terms of danger zones or overtaking opportunities?
If I think for overtaking opportunities is 130R. Obviously, you won't be able to do it full on the inters or wets because the track's going to be absolutely, well, depends if it's inters. But yeah, I think that'll be one of the main overtakings, or the start finish could be another one, or the hairpin as well. That could be another one. But I think it's going to be also not just the overtaking, it's going to be the tyre management because of the constant swapping of tyres if it does go to wet.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be difficult to manage when is the right time to pit, as we are just loading into these final qualifying session of the season. And as we've seen through so many times, there is usually 1 or 2 men that are usually on pole, but it is very, very tight in the final seconds of qualifying to find out who's going to start on pole position. Will it be dry? Will it be wet? We'll find out very shortly, but welcome along to those of you just joining us. We are glad to have you here. And there's a few drivers in this tier that have podiumed here. The last time we raced here, back a few seasons ago, Lukey and Ollie Favell in their respective Precision and Pinnacle at the time. So the pre-race interviews are always a hotbed of activity for the drivers, and the first one I found was Samba, who wants to score good points for the team today. I think everyone does. Samba is a Williams driver, so they're having a decent season, but I don't think Williams can realistically win the Pinnacle Championship. I think it is definitely Mercedes. And as I just check the TAS to make sure everything is working properly, there we go. Everything is lighted up like a Christmas tree. That's always a great sign. Now, who's going to be first out of the pits? No one's out yet, and we're going to have activity on the track very short. Of course, the only figure of 8 track on the calendar. What are your thoughts about
that? It is an interesting one with Japan, I think, being one of the only tracks to feature the 8 on it, but it does have its potential to give great racing, and you know, there's not many that can say they've won at the Suzuka circuit.
No, that's certainly correct, as luckily Dynastics is not in a title opportunity because he is a little bit late, but he's joined the session now. But we are on track with Larkin, and while we get them warmed up, I will take you through the full standings of teams and drivers. First we have Lakitu Neski at the top on 148 and 134 respectively. Then you have Dynastics Toxic, and then I'm going to fill out the rest of the race premium with Samba, Larkin, Khalifa 71, 68, 62, so they could all switch today depending on how they do. Konzo down in 9th with 40 points, Schofield at 34, Ollie Favell 27, J Luke 20, Lukey 19, and I warn you now, they're always on track together at some point, so look out for the J Luke and Lukey battle. And of course we have the Mercedes Jamin 212, Williams 177, AlphaTauri 153, Red Bull 110, Renault 108, McLaren 46, Alfa 43, that's Alfa Romeo, Ferrari 38, Hassan 29, and Racing Point have 20 points. So always good to see every team have some points.
Yeah, it's been a disappointing season from Renault this season, obviously having a few incidents on track, but hopefully they can score some good points today with Larkin and Konzo here, so hopefully they can get some good points.
Yes, definitely, I'm sure they'll be hoping for good points, but we are going to go on board with Larkin, who is on a lap as he comes through the S's, which if you don't get a little part of it right, it will hamper you all the way through the rest of them. So it is key you get the line absolutely bang on perfect, and then you can just put the throttle down whenever you want to, and just come out of sector 1 really quick. 31-1 for the first time around. I'm sure that will be beaten later on in the session, but as this is the first one to do a flying lap, purple sector 1, but it's the only one to pass it, and the Toxic's gone a little bit quicker further on around, so we'll check out the progress of him later on.
There's also yellow flags in sector 3, which has now been cleared, so that may be a slow car going through, as Netsky has set a purple sector 1 with a 31-0 on the soft compound tyre, so he is looking for the pole, as Ollie goes even quicker, it looks like it.
Yep, the Taz is lighting up, everyone's going purple through certain sectors, and it's great to see that everyone is going for it in this final session. But the first one to cross the line is Larkin with a 26-4. Let's check out Toxic. Noticed he's gone in the pits, he's invalidated, but let's find someone else. Who Ollie Favell's coming around Spoon. What a horrible corner. Ugh. I don't like that.
No, I don't think a lot of drivers like going from the start finish into sector 1. It can cause a few incidents going off the track as well.
It can, as Netsky goes quickest at 25.7, and that's 6/10 quicker than Janel, and 7/10 quicker than Larkin, the only 3 to set a time so far, but there are others on the track as Ollie crosses the line in P4 with a 26.6.
So some very quick lap times from the Pinnacle tier, especially from Netsky, sitting second in the championship. He will be hopefully looking for a pole position tonight, and hopefully try and get the gap as far as he can away from his championship rival.
Yeah,
also ERT Samba's just gone P2.
Yeah, I was looking at Khalifa crossing the line, but
quite interesting.
Yeah, he's definitely put it amongst theirs. We noticed earlier he was just hoping to get good points from the pre-race interviews. Well, unfortunately you don't get any points for qualifying, but he's put himself for now in a very good position of a strong race and an opportunity. But Lakitu still hasn't come out of the pitch yet. I'm wondering what's going on there. Maybe he's just taking a few extra moments because he knows how big this session will be.
Also, a quick mention, ERT Khalifa takes the 3rd position on the qualifying as well with a 1:26.3, so that's an impressive lap from not just himself, but his teammate as well. They're sitting third and fourth.
Yeah, we often see this early in the session. We have teammates all sort of back to back like that. I wonder if any... I'm not sure, given the gap between them, there wouldn't been any toes going on around this track. It's very notoriously difficult. If you catch the wrong place, that's a dirty air, which will undo any good work the toe will get you. But Toxic on track is about to start a lap as he's approaching 130R, so I think we will sit on board with Toxic for now, and we will find out some of the steward's notes from before. Of course, Jules there is serving a quali ban, so that is why he's retired in the early stages. So we haven't missed anything. There's been no incidents. He's just got a quali ban that he's serving, so that is fair enough. There wasn't that many things to report other than that from last time, so just know that they are now past the penalty point threshold, so any penalties received here would be doubled, so that could be catastrophic.
Especially for a championship fight as well. One wrong move and you could be handed a double penalty.
Yes, absolutely, and that is why I think that both drivers know how big it is. Netsky, he's got nothing to lose, I guess, being second. He has to win and hope that his rival doesn't. Lakitu's still in the pits, so don't know why he's doing that, but Toxic is now on a lap and he's done a respectable sector time. But
yeah, also Dynastics is out as well, but he's invalidated, so he's gonna have to go around again. I think him and ART Kyle are out, as ART Kyle has come now through 130R into the final two corners. He hasn't... Oh no, he has got a lap of 1:26.9. He's gone into the pits. So, obviously the lap time wasn't what he was looking for.
No, not at that time, but he's got plenty of time to go again. But here comes Toxic across the line. He's put it into P3 for now, 26.1. That's a really good effort there from Toxic. He did go purple momentarily through there, but not quite good enough to take a pole position, but a very, very good lap. And he can't quite get on the front row yet, but maybe later, as we got Corza on an out lap. He invalidated earlier on. Lakitu finally on track. Let's have a look at the championship leader and favourite. Not to put the pressure on, but that is what he is.
Also, during a quali lap, it looks like Janel has broken his front wing. From TAS has given that in their report, so he's obviously gonna be in the pits. Hopefully he can get back out and get a faster lap time.
Yeah, it would be difficult to know where he's broken his wing, because he's just coming through the S's. But anyhow, Lagitu's just about to start a flying lap, so we will go back on board with him as he's coming through the Casio triangle and gets a good run to start a lap, opens the DRS, and this is where you want to have everything clear from your mind and just focus on what is to come. The Ferrari there nicely out of the way, doesn't impede him as he comes through turn 1 and 2, which can be tricky if you get it slightly wrong, again we've mentioned, but the S section is very windy but very rewarding if you get it right, and he'll need to. Although last week he didn't quite get qualifying right, but still managed to come from 12th to win the race, so it was a sensational drive from him last week, and that is why he's got such a big lead in the championship. Of course, a late safety car changed the order quite a lot, but Lakitu there I think has just done something quite fast through sector 1. I'm just looking at Taz, and Netsky's only even quicker in sector 1, so we will go on board with him after Lakitu's finished his lap. The two championship rivals could be starting 1 and 2, and that is quite a prospect in itself.
Especially going into turn 1, that could get a very interesting battle. As Lukey goes P8, so yep, very good from the McLaren driver. He does a 1:26.8.
Yeah, it's always a very good effort from Maluki. He's always getting in there in the lower reaches of the points, but he's always very consistent, and he doesn't always get the points that he definitely deserves. But here comes Lakitu through the final corner of the Casio Triangle across the line with a 25.5. That is 2 tenths quicker than Netsky, who's about to cross the line himself, and he's gone quicker, but not no position improvement. He's a 10th off pole position there, so this is quite a battle they have. Advantage Lagitu for now.
It's definitely going to be interesting with the last 7 minutes of qualifying left. We have got quite a few drivers that haven't set a lap at the moment, but the only Toma is on a flying lap at the moment, the Hash driver. He's just coming through the last 2 corners into the straight for the start finish line, and he goes P10 with a 1:26.8.
Solid effort from the Hash driver there. Always like to see Hash doing well, no favouritism, of course. As the Renault of Console's on an outlap, and Renault were in the team's press conference this week. It's the other tiers. I mean, they've had a bit of an issue in some tiers this season, let's be honest, but especially this one, they're not doing as well as they probably should be. But they do show flashes of speed according to head of teams, but the results never really come in. But lower tiers like Prospectors had an amazing second half of the season, and hopefully they're not too far away from picking up. And Red Bull is the other team who sit 3rd and 5th so far in this session, with some positions to be gained in most tiers, definitely the lower tiers. Have the drivers performed, and do you think you can maintain where you are in all 4 tiers or gain better positions? The season hasn't been the greatest for them, but drivers like Janel have improved as the season has progressed, so there is potential for a strong final race, which could be good for Red Bull, as they are definitely in with the hunt of moving up. Well, I wouldn't say they can move up a position in Pinnacle this tier. They are 43 points off AlphaTauri, and that is a big ask, but I think a double points finish for Red Bull will definitely end their season on a high.
Yeah, definitely, of course. Loki has got some wing damage. Tass is saying he's got 63% damage, so that's on his front wing, as we ride on board with Dynastics, who is on a flying lap, the Williams driver, as he now comes into the long straight into 130R. He has invalidated a couple of laps, so hopefully this one he can get his flying lap done. He has got a bit of traffic in front of him. He sets a purple sector 2, so this could be quite close to a top 5 for quali.
It could well be close, and we're going to see what he does as he runs the Casio Triangle and opens the DRS across the line. He's in the top 5, as you say, 4th with a 25.7. That's a great lap, and that's what he can do when he keeps it clean and valid within the white lines.
It is quite interesting that we've got both Williams on the top 5 for quali. They're both P4 and P5 respectively at the moment.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, some of the things you see out there in one-hub racing. Unfortunately, yeah, we can't quite replicate that in real life just yet, but you never know. With new backers and new engines in the back of those things, maybe, just maybe, 2021's their year to bounce up through the field. But Williams are second in the constructors in this tier, of course, so it's no surprise to see them there. Let's just check Taz for any further damage. Nope, Lukey's changed his wing, so he'll be back out in the final couple of courses out on a lap. Well, not quite on a lap, he's on an out lap, sorry. Just trying to find out. There's not a lot of cars on track at the moment, so we'll just stay on board with Corsa through this out lap, as I think he's the furthest on to it out of the 3 on track. Dynastics, I don't think he's on a lap.
He's invalidated. Corsa's just invalidated. The bit before the hairpin, he's just gone a little bit wide, so he's going to have to go around again.
Well, that's fine, it's an out lap anyway.
Yeah.
I do that a lot, I validate my out lap.
Yeah, but has he done a good idea with having an empty track? He's not going to have any traffic in front of him, so he's going to get clean air around the track as well.
Yes, that is very key, of course. Clean air around here is crucial. I got caught in dirty air earlier and I lost the car and lost a couple of positions in the penultimate stages of the race, but it happens. But in qualifying, these cars seem to do better, especially when everyone's turning everything up to its maximum, and probably a little bit more to try and maximise getting a little bit further up the grid as he starts his lap. Let's see what he can do. Car stays nicely out of the way coming out of the pits, which of course is tricky, but I think we won't have any issues with cars staying out and coming out in. So they're doing a pit stop and coming out in front of another car and causing a problem. I don't think that will happen. Sector 1 for course is looking a little bit tidy, but could be a little bit quicker still. I think he's just trying to keep it clean as he's one of 3 drivers to set a lap still, but he's on track now, and 31.1 sector 1, that compares him a little bit slower than the top 3, but not much. It's all about sector 2 though. It's pretty much high speed from about here, lift off, and then pretty much just full throttle from here to the braking point at the Casio Triangle. It's one of the quickest sectors on the calendar, I think, and it's quite rewarding if you get that right. But through 130R, where's that put him in terms of sector time? He's 38.7. That's a little bit slower than third place Khalifa there. But let's see what he can do. Would he get a bit of a towel from Kyle? Goes across the line, P9, 26.1. There's quite a few in that group, 26.0, 26.1, so that's quite tight for the midfield battles as well. That's brilliant to see.
Definitely, of course, you always like the great battles on the track as well, especially at Japan, a very technical track, especially, and we don't know if we're going to have any rain in the race. We saw it already earlier this evening in the earlier prospect tier, so would you like to see some rain, or would you like a dry, clear track?
From a driver's perspective, I should say, I would always prefer a dry race because I'm not as good in the wet at controlling the car. But I think these boys, I think they've shown whatever the weather they're capable of any condition. So I think they'll be looking forward to whatever the weather. So I'm not really sure they mind of the weather, but let's hope we see a good race, whatever happens.
As Corsa has retired from the session, so it's all. So J. Luke hasn't set a lap time. That is quite interesting. That he hasn't set one.
Oh, Netsky 25.3 just improves his pole position, and Toxic goes in second, 25.3 as well. That's 13 thousandths off pole position there. Can Lakitu respond? He is on a lap. No, he's not, is he? I don't know, I'm confused. What's going on?
He is on a lap, yes.
Yeah,
he's just coming through the hairpin.
Sorry, yeah. I got to him a little late. It looked like he backed off, and I got confused with what was going on. Everything, the timing just looks all kind of messed up. So I don't know if he's on a lap or not, but we'll see. Someone that definitely is Khalifa, who's further on around the lap, but he's going up to the Casio Triangle now. Hits the brakes quite well. Don't think he locked up. Slows down nicely. Gets on the power. Stays to the right, which gives you a little bit of time. Can he improve? Yes, he can.
I don't think Lakitu is on a flying lap because he's not using DRS. Not DRS, ERS, apologies. Them two are so confusing.
They are, especially at speed, but whatever it is, he's not using it, and he will be starting from third position, which is okay. He doesn't have to win this race. Nevsky does. And even that might not be enough. But that session really flew by. Didn't get a chance to get to many of the pre-race interviews, but I have got them all loaded. But Taz will be the real story here. But Neski takes pole position by 13 thousandths from Toxic, the K2 championship leader, third place. Not that far behind him. I've just realised 2 thousandths behind Toxic, so that is a very good battle for the pole position. But Neski pipped it. Khalifa 4th, Samba 5th. Great session for Williams as 5th and 6th. Larkin in 7th, Janel in 8th. The other Red Bull backing up his teammate quite well. Konzo improved quite well in the session for 9th. Ollie Fravel 10th. Corsa 11th. Kyle 12th. I'm looking at these times. A second between the top 12. That's mental. Tom at 13th. Lukey 14th. And as you say, J. Luke didn't set a time. Scott Fielder couldn't. And Jules had the quali ban, so he couldn't either. Well,
It's all now down to the race. Are we going to get a wet or a dry race? Or are we going to get rain in the middle of the race? So it'll be interesting, I think.
it will be.
Ooh,
It's overcast. It's very, very. It could rain, but while we don't know what the weather's going to do, we would always, at this point, like to thank our wonderful One Hub Racing sponsors here. The first being Liam RBS, a fellow driver. You can check his point of view every week he does a race. The second sponsor is Next Level Racing, who are providing a wheel stand to the winner of the Go and Get Stuff award, which will be drawn on Sunday by Jess on stream. So check that out over the weekend, and you'll see which one of our drivers who need to do all their interviews by 5:30 on Sunday instead of the usual week. And then the third sponsor is Vespertine, who are a decent sponsor, and who read up early there. I think we're going to have a time penalty issued there. That's not what we should be doing. Anyway, the fourth relatively new sponsor is Time to Print 3D, and if you go to their website you can get a little discount on a Japan keyring. Anyhow, it's going to be a good race. Don't know what the weather's going to be, but it looks like there's rain in the air to me.
Just waiting for the drivers to ready up for the formation lap. It is a Mercedes 1-2 though. That's something that we are used to seeing in real life F1 as well, so...
Yes, we are used to seeing it here as well. Toxic has a lot of pace in quali, but he seems to fall off the pace a little bit in the race. But let's have a look at the strategies. Mandatory two-stop, of course. We haven't had anyone forget that for a while, but it has happened a few times this season. The last of which was a Ferrari, so they seem to be cursed because that's happened twice in this tier, different drivers. But we've got two people on the softs outside the top 10 and everybody else on the mediums, so that, oh, Corsa got through on the mediums. Look, that's, didn't even realise that, but that could be key in his race.
Definitely, of course, especially if we do get rain. Some drivers may opt for the hard compound tyre, which it can work, but they may be slower than the other tyres, so it is a bit of a mixed strategy with what you go depending on the weather, what position you're kind of in after lap 1.
Yes, definitely, it all depends on a lot of things, but all Netsky can really do is get his head down and hope that he's got enough to fend off the challenge of Lakitu, and I'm sure his teammate will be doing his best to hold Lakitu up to get Netsky a better race. But of course, that doesn't guarantee that Netsky's going to win the championship. He needs to outscore Lakitu, but finishing first and third is not going to do it. But I'm sure we'll have 27 amazing laps to find out who is going to win this race, and more importantly, the championship. There's going to be a lot of things going on, but that is the main race of the day. As the drivers are coming back to form up the grid, we'll go on board with, yeah, it's a pretty good spread. Dynastics is coming through the Casio triangle. Jean-Luc got disqualified earlier, I'm not sure why, but his tyres are going to be cold, but I don't think he's going to mind too much being outside the top 10. He can just chill, do his thing and come back into the race stronger out of turn 1. But all those medium runners, you thinking medium, soft, medium if it stays dry, or medium, soft, or anything like that?
From personal driver experience, I think we'd go soft, medium, or you could go the soft, medium kind of. I don't think the hards would be the best option round here.
No, we seem to say that every week about the hard tyres not being the best option, but somehow someone makes it work every week, and they are off and underway as the lights go out. Netsky is defending from Toxic, and there's a Red Bull movement in the background there. It's Khalifa and General fighting for position, but Netsky keeps the lead through turn 1 and 2, which is huge for now, but Lakitu just tucks in there, turn 3, and there's contact.
Yep, there's a Red Bull. Janel is off the track, and Corsa has left wing damage, 57%. Yep. So I'm wondering. Oh, Jean-Luc has been disqualified. Yeah,
he didn't move off the grid, so I'm wondering if he went away to do something and just didn't get back in time. And Corsa's obviously had damage, he couldn't control the car. Let's see where he's gone out there. He's right off the track there. He couldn't slow down through the S's. He's probably lost it with a little bit of damage, and that's just ruined his race. So we're down to 15 runners already, but let's go back to the front. Yellow flag, so no overtaking. Full course safety car. That could help the soft runners out immensely. And what would you do in this situation with early safety if you're in the lead?
I don't think I would pit, because you kind of are still on fresh tyres, whatever you used in qualifying anyway. So I'd try and stay where I am unless there is a 5-second penalty under the safety car that you want to clear. But no, if I'm in a good position, why would I want to pit? I don't have a reason to pit unless there is wing damage or my tyres are kind of near to the point of where they are worn and I am going to lose positions and time on a safety car restart.
Yep, of course there's always that to consider, but Neski didn't pit, but looks like Khalifa and Larkin have. There's quite a few of the people outside the top 10 of pit as well, so this race is not going the way I thought it would, but that is fascinating in itself. Let's see, Toxic is still out there. He's dropped to P8 though, so I don't know what happened. No, he hasn't. It's the timing tower being an idiot. Sorry, apologies. Ignore me. You'd think I'd learn by now.
We all have a mistake.
Yeah.
Also, Lakitu has dropped to P8, so that is quite interesting. Did he have an incident on lap 1?
No, that's the timing tower being stupid. He's third. I've just made exactly the same mistake about Toxic, but
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've just
It'll sort itself out in a minute.
I've just noticed it. Yeah.
Come on, Goldies, sort it out.
Larkin has just been given his first warning for track limits, so he will want to be a little bit extra careful, because one more and it is the 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, if you are in the chat and you're watching the stream, you can always put hashtag help and find out how your drivers are doing. We have all the data here, but if you want to know, of course, watching along in the YouTube chat, which we welcome you to do that, just type exclamation mark. Did I say hashtag help? Exclamation mark help. I'm having a moment, I'm sorry. It's the excitement of a championship that's getting to me. I'm sorry, Luke. I am so sorry, Luke. I bet he's missed now. But
yeah.
I'll do my best to come back from that. But the safety car's still out there, so we're going to have another lap, I think.
Feels like we're doing a Mercedes 1, 2, 3 here with the safety car.
Yep, not for the first time. But yeah,
as we now enter lap 4 of 27 under a safety car.
But we should always take note that Thomas had a sensational start. He's up quite a lot of positions. Let's have a look how many actually, if I can remember which. Not that one. It's there somewhere, there you go. Thomas up 7. So if the race was to end now, I hope it doesn't, I mean it won't, but he would get in-game driver of the day, and that is good enough for me. Let's go back to how we were.
Also, a few of the drivers at the back of the grid have gone for the hard tyres, so they are going to go for the long strategy. It is a 2-stop race, mandatory, so it is going to be quite interesting. As Netsky nearly overtakes the safety car, he backs off a little bit. We don't want to DSQ there. That would really spice up the championship. Yeah,
if he overtakes the safety car, that's probably going to end it. But you have to.
Yeah.
When the safety car's lights go out, which should be any moment now, you'll see him back right off, let the safety car go, and then Neski will pick the perfect moment to get back up to racing speed as the train behind him with cars just waiting for the same moment. See if they can take advantage down into turn 1, because there is no overtaking before the start finish line. So you can, I guess, other than what they do in real life, you can't overtake until you've passed the start finish line, but the lights are still on, but they should be out very shortly. And then we'll see Netsky drop further and further back as the safety car just disappears, goes back into the pits. But until then, let's take note of the people on the hards now, General Scott Fielder and Conzo. Look out for them as the safety car is indeed in this lap, so we'll go back on board with the leader, and we will keep tracks of those on the hard tyres and see if any of them come through to get a potential podium or anything like that. But just keep an eye out for them. They are dark horses at this point. It's always good to keep an eye on them, even though we both agree it's probably not a good idea. But I also said one of these drivers can make it work, and they have done before.
Definitely.
And he goes out of the Casio triangle, and that's called Toxic a little bit unaware, which is probably good for Nevsky, as that means he could probably held up Lakitu behind his teammate. So this is a good restart from everyone. I haven't noticed any collisions, and that is Janel already putting them hard tyres to use as he's overtaking Schofielder.
We do have a little bit of a midfield battle between Lukey and Khalifa. I think Lukey has got past Khalifa through the S sections as he is now trying to catch ART Kyle for P6. But we also do have Larkin on the back of Khalifa, and Jules has also joined that battle for P6.
Yes, but Jules is on the wrong tyre for my money at this part of the race. He will have, and that's a
got
crash.
a little bit of a battle between Khalifa and Lukey as they went through the hairpin, but Khalifa couldn't get the job done. So it must be really frustrating him.
It would be, but Lukey's a very good defender. He knows where to put the car to keep cars behind him, and Khalifa won't be ruled by that. But in the background, you saw Jules going for a move that wasn't on, and unfortunately he spat himself out and he's reset the track as well. That's probably not okay. But Larkin is on the back of Lukey and Khalifa, but who's in front at the moment?
There's a little bit of a tasty battle between Khalifa and Lukey. They're both side by side, I think, down.
There comes Larkin down the middle as well. Is that rain I saw on the camera, or are my eyes playing tricks to me? Because he's got very dark out there.
It's a little bit, yeah. I think it's very light. Oh, Larkin's gone wide off the track. I think he got a little bit squeezed from Khalifa. He is off the track.
No, maybe he's not. I don't know what's going on there, but
I think you might have caught it just a little bit late. But we have got Dynastics now on the back of Lukey, and also we've got Lukey's teammate on the back of Dynastics. So this could be quite interesting.
It could be indeed, and we're at the pace where we saw Jules go off track a lap ago. He went down the inside. He's on the soft tyres, but that won't really do him any good. He's swept past Janel. Anyone got damage in all this?
I believe Jules
not to this
just had an incident with Janel.
I don't see any damage on the tyres, but
just informed.
Everything's going wrong.
Nevsky is setting the current pace for everyone with the fastest lap, so he's really showing his pace tonight around the Suzuka track.
Yes, DRS is enabled, so that should see some more overtakes, but it's getting ever so much darker every lap here, and I'm wondering if the rain isn't too far away. But Lakitu in P3, that is enough to win the championship, but there is a lot of racing still to do between then and now. Let's just see if... I think Lagitu's just playing it safe and just sticking behind, because he knows what he needs to do. He knows what Nevsky has to do, and at the moment, if winning the race isn't enough, then Nevsky should be more than pleased with his effort so far. But they are all on the soft tyres, so we'll be pitting at some point in the next few laps. And whether it's for mediums or fresh softs to get to some rain, I don't know at this point. It could just be softs to inters. It's going to be a race that we'll never forget for a while, but this has the makings of a classic.
Definitely. ERT Samba has just picked up his second warning, so next one will be the 3-second warning. Well, the penalty for corner cutting. So the soft compound tyres will last till about lap 9 to 11, so we will see some potential pit stops in a few laps if we don't have any rain, I think. But it depends all on tyre wear at the moment.
It certainly does, and tyre wear is a massive concern, especially when you try to hold it around some of the sweeping S bends with the tyre wear. You're going to have trouble holding onto the car at that point. It is going to be notoriously difficult. But the action zones, which we're slightly late to this week, are turn 1, of course. Turn 7, it is easy to touch the grass and the gravel on the outside of the Dunlop curb though. And turn 11, just the hairpin there. Braking is difficult at the best of times, but it is easy to run into another car, and I think we saw that a couple of times in Prospect and other tiers as well. Turn 13 and 14 is spoon. You can make a driver make a mistake there and push them wide and not easily overtake them. And then of course turn 16, 17 and 18, and that's down in 130 on the Casio Triangle. But tyre wear can catch people out there, so look out for incidents into those corners. But we are at the hairpin now, and Lagitu is just having a little bit of struggle to get around there. He's lost the rears of that. Could lead Samba down the outside of him, and he's holding in well there. So who's going to get ahead? Someone's going to have to bail out of this one. It is Spoon, and Lakitu just does enough to keep in front. I don't think Samba, wanted to have anything to do with taking out the championship leader, so I think he just used discretion as the better part of valour there and just tucked him behind the championship leader and went on about his day, and that's always good to see. Awareness.
Definitely, of course. Also, Toxic has 2 warnings already, so I wonder if Lakitu is trying to close the gap. So if Toxic does get a 3-second time penalty, he can just sit there in P3 and wait till the end of the race.
Well, that's always a thing, but Toxic has pitted anyway, so that's really none of Lakitu's concern right now. All he's got to do is just put in the best times possible. There's a yellow flag. Don't know why that is.
I think it's Toxic. It was him in the pits. I don't know why the game has given him yellow flags while he's in the pits.
Yeah, I think the game's had enough. Yep, as we've seen the chat, disqualification. It will kick off when my regular partner's not here. Luke, you've picked a fine week to miss, my friend, but I know why you're not here, and I hope you're enjoying the race as much as you would be if you were streaming it alongside me. But it's good to see you in the chat, and everyone else, of course. You're always welcome as well, and we know it's going to be a classic race, so just stick with us to the end to see a brand new, a champion crowned, and my first time crowning a champion, so I'm extra excited, as you can tell by the fact I can't pronounce any words tonight.
Definitely. It's also great that, you know, we are able to crown a new potential champion tonight at such a fantastic track that has given so many great moments, not in just virtual F1 but in real life F1 as well, as Dynastics has got DRS on Larkin, but I think he may be a bit far back. Yeah, he's just a little bit far. But some are pitting now, as Lakitu and Samba are in the pits. They have gone for the medium tyres, so they're hopefully expecting no rain, but there is still the 2-stop mandatory, as there is another retirement with
that's
Ollie.
In the pit lane, so that's fine. Yeah, Ollie's parked in the pit lane. He's had about enough of this season, and can't say I blame him. He's had a tough time of it, bless him. But Netsky, you'll notice, is still out there on the soft tyres, and that is Lakitu going for the undercut. Will it work? We'll find out, but he is a long way down in P13, but don't worry about that. He came back in P12 last week to win the race, and I'm sure he can do very similar for now, but there are some people that need a bit ahead of him. But where will Netsky come out?
Also, very interesting, Jules is up to P6 from starting near the back of the grid. Great drive so far from the Haas driver. Yeah,
Haas driver needs some more great drives, and I'm sorry to the team for letting you all down, but next season will be better, whatever car I'm in. Anyway, let's get back to the action, as you have Larkin on the back of Khalifa and Kyle there. It's a bit of a DRS train, unfortunately. I think they're just going to be swapping positions for the next few laps. If you can get in front, you might not be able to stay in front, and that brings Dynastics into it as well, as he has DRS, but he's a little bit too far back to do anything into turn 1, as Netsky finally pits. Let's see where he comes out. Is Lakitu going to get him? Is he going to jump him? It's going to be close. Toxic, fastest man on track. Let's see. And that is Lagitu behind Netsky. So, of course, points for top 12 here, of course, but 12 is only a point, so that doesn't do Netsky any good at all. Lagitu doesn't have to score any points if Netsky finishes 12th. Then we have a champion there, but there's a lot of permutations which are floating around, and there's a lot of things can happen between the end of the race and now, and I'm looking forward to seeing whatever happens.
Definitely, of course. I think it'll be an interesting finish, depending on what the end of the race weather is. I think as we've got 17 laps left, it is looking quite dark and cloudy.
It certainly is, and that is a telltale sign that the rain is coming, but they might get lucky, it might hold off. But talking of being lucky, Larkin has to go on the grass to avoid Kyle there. He gets very defensive out of 130R, and that almost ended in tears, but Larkin had enough awareness to avoid it, and he's still got a fight on his hands to keep the position, because that is Dynastics right on his rear wing now. They both have DRS. Are they going to go for it into turn 1? Dynastics goes for it around the outside, who doesn't quite have the run into turn 2, and that means Larkin can just hold position into the S's, and as you were, but a little bit of action always goes a long way.
Jules is the only driver still on the soft compound tyres, now up to P5. I don't think he's made a pit stop yet. I will just double check. No, he has made a pit stop. So he's gone, I believe, mediums to hards. No, mediums to softs, apologies.
Yeah, I think he had a little bit of an incident early on, and just I think he pitted under the safety car just for the soft tyres, which is a decent call, but he's only got a couple of laps left of decent use, and he'll have to pit again and put on, say he pits on lap 13, he'll probably go mediums to try and get to the end and hope for possibly another safety car. Or is the rain coming? He knows more than us, of course. We don't know what the weather's going to do. All we can see is what it's doing now.
Definitely, as Lukey is setting fastest sectors as well, so he's definitely trying to catch up to Janel, or Janel. But then you've got Scopefielder is behind Lukey as well, as they now come into the DRS zone of the start finish. I think Scopefielder may be a little bit too far back going into turn 1, as Netsky sets the fastest lap with a 1:28.9 on the mediums. Very impressive lap from the Mercedes driver, especially on the mediums.
Yep, that is a good lap at this stage of the race, good pace, and that's what you need to do. You need to have a good pace and manage it well and be consistent with it, and that's how you win races and championships, which of course we are going to see tonight, a champion being crowned. But this is a great battle for the mid to lower points of this race. We've got Lukey, Schofield, Janel and Konzo all in a line there, as you can see, and of course Tomer, of course, is just ahead of that train. In fact, he is the start of the DR train. There's a yellow flag in sector 2. I don't really understand why. I don't see anyone. Oh, yes, I do. I see Dynastics off the track.
I think he's had a little bit of a spin or contact with someone.
I think it just player 16 broke his left wing. I think that must be Dynastics. Yeah, he's got damage. He's struggling to get that back. You're going to see Netsky through in a second as well. Netsky and Toxic are going to follow through, and Lakitu's just behind that as well. So hopefully he won't get in these. I'm sure he won't get in these guys' ways, but it's going to be difficult to make it through 130R with that damage. But he's managed it.
Yes, a little bit of the front wing has come off. As he locks up the tyres there, he's going to go into the pits, I think. Yeah, he will do.
I was going to say, hopefully.
Unfortunately, for the Williams driver, there is a few others that have pitted.
Yeah, that's not surprising given the age of the tyres that are on. They figured they might as well put some fresh rubber on lighter cars. They could get to the end, and that's their stops out of the way for this race. But this could be anyone's race at the moment. Khalifa leads from Kyle and Larkin at the moment, but all things are going to change at some point. But Larkin has just gone 3/10 quicker through sector 1 than he's been before, so it looks like the mediums are the tyres to be on.
As Khalifa has just locked up into the hairpin, so... But there's Larkin on the back of ART Kyle for P2.
Yep, definitely for P2, he's definitely going to be there, but there's a good point in the chat. Those on hards also make him think that rain is definitely forecast, and I think it's coming. It's just a question of when. Looking at the clouds, it's getting ever so slightly darker lap by lap here. There's Konzo's got a 3-second time belt over track limit. It's surprising that's the only one of this race, 13 laps into it, but that makes it's incredibly clean with less penalties at this point. So just good old tracks, good old fashioned tracks, and track limits do for drivers. But Kyle is now in the pits as Khalifa leads another lap and has a little bit of a margin behind him, so he can just concentrate on his race for now. But the championship contenders are down in 9th and 7th, and that should be enough for Rikitu to well, not retain, but win the championship at that stage, because the points difference is not enough for Netsky there. Netsky would only get 6.
Jules is still out on 11 lap old soft, so he should be in the pit soon, because they are going to be really worn soft tyres, so he will make his second stop of the race. He'll probably go, I reckon, to the mediums, possibly the hards, as a few have gone for the hard tyres.
Yeah, his tyres are not well at all. 70% front left and front right.
They're probably screaming at him.
They're probably like, please take me off, I'm exhausted.
Oh, he's just had a little bit of an oversteer in the corner there as he comes down the straight into 130R. He has got people catching him.
Yeah, that's a telltale sign that he needs to take those tyres off. He caught it. He was lucky on that occasion, but next time he might not be so lucky. The walls are pretty close there at high speed, but no, he's gone another lap. That could be a little bit silly of him, but I guess maybe he's thinking it's definitely about to rain. They don't want to go softs. I don't want to put on new softs to go to inters, but Dynastics with the track limit issues there as well, as you see. But Khalifa's still out in the lead at the moment. Konzo is hunting down Janel though. There could be some action in the next couple of laps. They're both on hard tyres, and I said watch out for these at the start of the race. Janel was up into P4. He's gone on hards very early on, but he's making them work so far, and I think he's in a great position. If it started raining now, he would be a beneficiary of that. But let's just see if the championship leaders are going to follow suit. They are on fresher mediums, but I'm just curious as to why Jules didn't pit there. He's had a moment, and that's a telltale sign with the damage that he's got. Well, not damage, but the tyre wear. It's getting up there. These tyres could well explode in a lap or two if he's not careful, so please pit.
Yeah, as it's looking from Janel, he keeps locking up through the hairpin, so maybe he is struggling now on the hard compounds. Izzy is catching up to Jules on them really worn soft tyres. They are now well over the 70% worn tyres. Is he going to pit?
I would hope so.
If he goes for another lap, they will cause a puncture.
Good lad. He's heard us. He's gone in. Good lad. But yes, that's a position for that was scary there. I'm thinking surely not. But yeah, no, 78% worn front. You really need to pit. Let's have a look at
promoted Janel up to a podium position in the race for Red Bull, currently P1 and P3, and we can't count out Larkin at the moment, who is doing an absolute fantastic job for the Renault team in P2 and his teammate P4.
Yeah, the Red Bull are doing a sensational race, as are Renault, of course. You can see that, and the Konzo there is in P4. I don't recall the last time he was running this high up in a race, but he must be loving it out there today. But championship leader Lakitu down in P8, championship rival Neski P6. Again, this is going to the final corner because we don't know at this point, but it's looking very much like it's going to be a classic race. And J. Luke got disqualified earlier. I don't know what happened with his start. He just didn't get off the line, so Of course, he gets disqualified for being parked in a dangerous location, I guess, but it's unfortunate. But Schofield, he's having a solid race in P5. He had a good race a couple of weeks ago as well. He's certainly picked up his form of late, and he's definitely crept up in the driver standings into the top 10, so that is good to see that the improvement still continues. As the season goes on, people are getting better, and that is what you want ahead of season 18.
It's definitely going to be a great last few 10 laps of One Hub Racing of season 17 at the Japan Suzuka track.
Just running a battle. Konzo and Jano, I think it's about the closest one I can see at the moment. Scotfield's on the back of that as well, so that three-way fight for 4th place, that's coming alive, and Lakitu and Netsky are together on track now, so this is getting spicy for both of them. I'm sure they won't have contact, but it's going to be Netsky thinking, oh no, not again. Lakitu's chasing you down, Netsky, what can you do about it?
It would just be the case of putting the car where it should be into the braking zones to stop Lakitu trying to make them overtaking moves, especially in 130R or the start-finish line going into turn 1.
Yeah, definitely. You won't see. I don't think you'll see any stupid moves from either of them going for moves they probably shouldn't be going for. There is a championship on the line, but I don't think they want to be responsible for taking the other out, especially Netsky, who, if he scores no points, it's over, and if he takes the leader out, he still doesn't win the championship, so there won't be any point in doing that. But I just want to see good hard racing in Khalifa, and so there's quite a few cars in the pit lane now, so there's definite strategy changing going on, but for the most part the rain seems to have subsided and it actually looks a little brighter again now,
as most of the drivers have now pitted for the soft compound tyres, so it's now going to be the last remaining 9 to 8 laps on the soft compound tyres, as we've got a battle for P2 between Konzo and Scopefielder.
Yep, it's been brewing for a few laps, but I think it's definitely, and then of course Janel's just ahead of them as well, so it could well be, in theory, be a battle for the lead, but Konzo's just out of the DRS range at the moment, but Schofield is very much in it. And then of course you've got Khalifa on the back of Kyle for P4, and Jules is under, no he's not, Jules is pressuring Onitoma, who are Haas teammates in 7th and 8th. Seems to be a day for it, and both horses in the points. Why not?
Definitely, of course. It's going to be an interesting one, I think, of where Netsky and Lakitu do finish for the championship. Because obviously Netsky needs to finish up as high as possible than Lakitu. So I think if I was Netsky, I would just be on the softs, pushing as much as I can every lap. He's got his teammate in front to use as a tow, but is Team Order's going to play in the favour, and will Toxic have to let his teammate through based on the championship fight, as Toxic sets the fastest lap but gets a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting? So
yeah, I mean, it is all to play for, but I think Toxic's definitely going to want to help his teammate get as high up as possible and try and make life as difficult as possible for Lakitu. But it's just going to be a tall ask at this point, but anything can happen, and very usually does. But there's plenty of racing still to do with Toxic on the back of Lukey. I don't think he's going to go for it through the Degners, but he's going to make a play at it possibly into the hairpin. He could get a good run here, which he has done, and I think he's going to pop to the right hand side, and that just should mean he can now break him into the hairpin, and that should be the position for Toxic. But Lukey comes back on the inside, but just about gets the move done, I think. There you go, Toxic up into P9, and that should give Netsky all the credence he needs. That he's got pace to deal with, but that's Lakitu smiling as that, because that's just, yeah, Lakitu's just doing what he needs to do, as I famously say so often the Alan Prost approach. Just do what you need to do.
Definitely, of course. But Lakitu is catching up to Netsky as Khalifa sets the fastest lap. He's gone with a, let me just check, a 1:28.1. So very fast from the Red Bull driver, getting the extra point as well.
Yep, of course, fastest lap for inside and outside top 10. And Schofield, as you were talking, has pulled off an incredible move into turn 1 on Konzo. So that was a great move that I caught the back of, and that was very well driven by both of them. They gave each other enough space and the move was done very cleanly. And talking of moves, it looks like Toxic's on a charge because he's after only Toma now as well, and it looks like he could get him into the hairpin as well, but Netsky is behind his teammate and that's taking Lakitu with them as well. So we could have a monumental final 8 laps or so here. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Definitely, of course. It's time to get ready for the popcorn and sit back and just watch some fantastic racing as Lukey gets a 3-second penalty and Jules gets one as well. So a double penalty for 2 drivers with 3 seconds each for the corner cutting, as we have Lakitu is right on the back of the 2 Mercedes drivers, but Netsky has got past his teammate, so team orders playing a big factor there.
Possibly, yes, but like I said earlier, Toxic knows what he needs to do to help his teammate, and of course now he's going to try and hold up Lakitu as much as possible. But that, of course, is no easy thing to do, as Lakitu at times has been absolutely rapid in race pace. So let's see what Toxic can do to try and bring his teammate closer to that championship. They've already sealed the constructors. Can they do the double?
I think it's also going to be now the case of Lakitu putting as much pressure he can on the Mercedes driver of Toxic, but then Toxic's also got to push and make that gap for Netsky as well. So it's kind of a knock-on effect of one push and then the other one's got to push even harder to catch up to the car in front.
Yes, definitely, and that could have also have a knock-on effect of the guy in front makes a mistake, which then in turn gives you more confidence. But of course it could go the other way. You could be trying too hard behind to catch a guy and you could make the mistake. So talking of mistakes, Samba's just had a little bit of a moment coming out of this second part of Spoon, but he manages to correct himself. But Netsky up into P7, that makes things very interesting for the championship, but not quite enough. At this stage Lakitu would still win, but it's getting closer.
Definitely with 5 laps left, as Lakitu has got DRS, but I think he's going to be a little bit too far back from Toxic, but it will close the gap, as also Samba's got DRS somehow on Lakitu as well. So, but no drivers making any overtakes so far. No, not yet, but there's plenty of time to, well, there's not really, they're running out of time to make overtakes, but I'm sure they are working towards it. It's a game of chess. You need to think 2-3 laps or corners ahead of the people you're on track with, and hopefully you can catch them by surprise into one of those corners, but you just gotta play it smart as well. I think some of these guys know that they're not really benefiting from anything, but Janel's having a stormer of a race out in front. Early in the season he was up there, but he's just fallen off a little bit in recent weeks, but he's definitely hasn't got the points that he's deserved this season, but that could be said for a lot of drivers. It's just been a little bit of a step too far from the tier below into the top tier, but I'm sure he's going to build from this for next season. And season 18, of course, trailer drops next week. Yeah, definitely already looking forward to the next season ahead. I'm sure all the drivers in the current One Hub season, right from Pinnacle to Prospect, will be absolutely excited for season 18 in One Hub. I'm definitely excited, and I'm sure you are as well. It provides great racing, great community, and it's just all-round great racing.
Yes, absolutely. I am so excited for season 18. I'm a little sad that season 17 is over already because it feels like it's just begun. But we will be back at some point in March, I guess, for some form of pre-season. But season 18 next Friday, so look out for that, and more news in the coming weeks after that. But looking at Taz, no one has any damage since we saw player 16 with the broken wing.
But Yano has got 2 warnings, so he is close to that 3-second time penalty if he does go just that little bit over the mark kind of territory. So he's going to want to play it safe. He's only 1.9 in front of Scopefielder, so it's kind of, you can push, but don't push too hard kind of situation, really, as Netsky has gone up to P6 as he overtakes Jules, so he's making that gap.
Yes, he is, and that's going to make things difficult for Lakitu. He's now got an extra car he needs to contend with to get anywhere near Netsky. But it looks like Jules has come back, actually, coming down through turns 1 and 2, so that things as they were, so that's just not change anything really, other than a little bit of excitement. That doesn't change the overall championship picture, but it's still a great battle, and I'm sure it's going to have many attempts from now to the end of the race, although there isn't many laps left. 4 laps to go, including the one that they are on, but these are... And then Samba, of course, is behind Lakitu, and he could get involved with this as well, with some DRS and well-timed movement. There's the hairpin, all take different lines to avoid each other's dirty air as they come out of it, and this is going down to the wire, and this is what we hoped for when we started the season.
Definitely, of course. I think it's now like a 4 or 5 car battle behind Virgil's. You've got Virgil's, Netsky, Toxic and Lakitu as they now go into 130, as Dynastics gets a 3-second time penalty, so I believe that's his second one of this race. As Lakitu goes up the... Oh no, that's Samba. Samba has overtaken Lakitu.
At the moment, but he's okay. But yeah, I was just checking the penalties then. That is, as you say, Dynastic second. Everyone else that has a penalty is Konzo, Jules, Toxic and Luki. They only have 3 seconds of penalties. And now Toma has 3 seconds as well. So that's well played. I feel like I've contributed to that in some way, and I'm sorry for that.
There is a little fight between, well there was, between Netsky, Jules and Toxic, as Netsky has literally no ERS at all. He's got 6%, as it is now going up a little bit as he's breaking into the corners.
Yeah, it's all going to be coming down to fine margins towards the end of this race, but as it stands, we know what's happening. But while there's laps, Netsky still has hope, but that hope is fast running out. But it's still been a cracking race today, and it looks like Khalifa's got past Scopefielder again, but he will do. He's on the soft tyres, and he's going to have a little bit of fun at the end of this race, and why not? But General's having an absolute sensational race, which makes me wonder, where's this form been all season?
We have got a little bit of a fight at the middle of the pack.
Oh no!
I think Toxic's had a spin.
Oh dear me! It's all gone wrong there.
He's got both Williams now charging at him.
Yeah,
which is Dynastics and his teammate of Samba.
Yeah. That could have gone better, but luckily it was Toxic and not Netsky that got involved in an incident there, and that really could have changed things.
Definitely.
If it was Netsky, it would be championship over, but as it happens, it's still not quite over, but he's only got 1 lap left to make something happen, but he's nowhere near where he needs to be. So at the moment, it's looking good. But I won't say anything because we all know what happens when Murray Walker opens his mouth.
Yeah, but at the moment, ERT Khalifa is pulling a fantastic race for today. He's currently sitting in first place as the race leader, and he has the fastest lap for the session with a 1:28.1. So he's going to take potentially 26 points back to Red Bull, and his teammate is going to grab P2 as well. So great day at the office in Japan for the Red Bull team.
Yeah, a great day, and it's not quite over yet. Janel and Khalifa are going to be battling for the top step of the podium, but that is a secondary story to who's going to claim the top step of the championship, as Khalifa doesn't want to give up. Janel's having a great race, but I think he may have to yield the fact that Khalifa has just better tyres than him at the moment. He can keep Schofielder and Konzo behind him to claim second place, but I think we're on the last lap now, and that's flown by, and it's almost time to call a champion. It's almost time. It's getting there, and Larkin gets past his teammate down into the Degners there, and he's got a little bit of pace about him on the softs, and it looks like he could ruin this. But no, he could well grab a podium at this. There's a yellow in sector 2. I don't know what happened there.
It's a Renault, and I think it might be Konzo.
Yeah, it is Konzo. It looks like he's had an issue. He's got a puncture. Looks like he's got a puncture.
And
front left.
Damage as well.
Yeah, that's Netsky 3 to P5. Now, Lagitu P8. That is 5 points. Netsky P5 is 10 points. So does that do it? No, it doesn't. But it is closer now. Let's go on board as Khalifa's about to cross the line to win the Japanese Grand Prix Season 17. Janel, Schofield and Larkin, Netsky is 5th place. But if my calculations are correct, which I'm trusting they are because I read this of someone else, that is Lakitu crossing the line to be the driver's champion, and he certainly confirms that with a clean race. He's gained a couple of positions at the end, but Lakitu is the champion here at One Hub Pinnacle Tier Season 17. And Luki will end up the on-track action now. What a race. Welcome for the final race of the season. I hope you've had a good race, and I'm sure you've had plenty of time to think about driver of the day as the game goes with Schofielder. But I'll give you some time to think about it as I run down the order. But we will go to you first after this, so have a think while I go through the provisional results. When I get the screen up, of course. There we go. 2 Red Bulls on the podium and a Ferrari. But for once, it takes a backseat to the championship. Credit to the drivers, of course, for that. But there is the champion being crowned. But Khalifa wins the race. Janel second by 1.5 seconds for his teammate. Khalifa's had a storm of race. Janel has had a great race. Schofield has had a brilliant race as well. Larkin P4, that's his best result of the season, I think. Netsky also P5 there. Lakitu P6, and that just confirms it. Lakitu is the champion, barring incidents in the shield room, which I don't think there are many involving these drivers. Samba 7th, Jules 8th, Toxic 9th, Konzo 10th, Kyle 11th, and Dynastics with the final point. Toma, Luki, Ollie, Corza, and J. Luke didn't finish. Neither did Ollie Flavel, but the fastest lap outside the top 10 would go to 28.6. The Toma went there outside the top 10, and inside the top 10. Khalifa won the race, took the fastest lap, and now I'm going to talk to you. Who is your driver of the day?
For me, driver of the day, I think it has to be Larkin. His team has not had the best of seasons with Renault, but he's got on P4 today. Fantastic for the team and him in the championship. So XL Larkin is my driver of the day. And
what was the question you would like to ask him?
For me, the question to Larkin is, even though Renault have had a disappointing season so far, but you finished P4, finished it off with a good result, do you have momentum going now into season 18? And do you think you can do even better next season?
That's an excellent question. For me, I've got a few candidates written down, as I always do. I have a pen and a piece of paper here. There's a few candidates on it. But I think I'm going to have to play a little bit controversial, I guess. The game gave it to Schofield, and I'm going to choose Schofield as well. I think the question I'm going to ask him is, that decision to pit onto the hards early on looks to be a stroke of genius. Was that always the plan to get a podium, or was that just a little bit lucky, but good drive nonetheless? Those are our drivers. Those are the questions we are going to ask. I hope you've had fun watching us this season at One Hub across all tiers, no matter who you support. We've enjoyed having you here, and again, thank you to our sponsors, which we've mentioned before, and I think the chat is important as well, so thank you to the One Hub community. Thank you to everyone that does what they do here at One Hub Racing, and we will mention the sponsors again, which is Liam RBS, Next Level Racing, Vespertine and Time to Print 3D. It's been an amazing season, and I've been Matt. Joining me this week was Storm. And some of us...
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, some of us will join you at some point in the future for some more One Hub Racing in the next season. Remember, Season 18 trailer drops next week. See you then, and for now, good night everybody, and stay well.